on the fleece, but don't rain on the grass.
Right.
He says, because I need confirmation. I'm not as buoyant. I'm not as boastful. I'm not as strong as the others. So for me, I need confirmation. And I know some of you tonight, you're saying, God, I'm unsure of my future. And I will not go into 2012 without knowing that you're with me. Tell somebody, I have to know that God's with me. I cannot get into another relationship without being assured that this is God. God, I'm fleecing you, and I'm asking you, please talk to me while I make this decision. Tell somebody you need confirmation. Gideon now gets confirmation, and he asks God again. I saw you rain on the fleece, but kept the grass wet. Now reverse it. I can't find nobody. Rain on the grass and leave the fleece dry. And thus he did the same. And when he did that, he went ahead on his voyage. But the last time he spoke, he did it through broth and unleavened bread. He does it exactly the same way that Gideon asked him. And after that, he says, alas, O Lord, you speak to me. Ooh, yum, 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 yum. Alas, O Lord, you speak to me. And because you speak, I fear you. Oh God, this was the first time, this is the first time that Gideon has a face-to-face encounter with God. And preceding that, he only heard from God, but never spoke to God face-to-face. How about if I'm telling you that this year that's coming in, you will no longer be talking to God, but God's going to descend and speak to you for himself. I don't need a prophet to tell me that I'm going to be blessed. I don't come to church for prophecy. I come from impartation. I come for instruction. But God speak to me. Tell somebody I'm ready. I said, look to somebody, say, neighbor, I'm ready for God to speak to me on a different level. The man Gideon has a challenge. He's challenged with his own self. He ain't mad at his surroundings, but he fears the Midianites. Brother preacher, he says, now if I'm going to fight them, I need an assurance that you are with me. Because if you're with me, why has all this stuff gone wrong? I'll come to encourage somebody that's in this room tonight. You had a bad year. Let's be honest. Things did not go the way that you thought they would. The friends that you had at the beginning of the year are no longer your friend. The support system that you had at the beginning, I was preaching, at the beginning of the year is no longer there. But tell somebody, say, neighbor, I trust God with my future. Y'all not preaching, say, neighbor, I trust God with my future. Gideon, look ahead now. I see you face to face. But Moses said in the Bible, if I see God face to face, I'm not going to live. I'm going to die. So now distraction happens to Gideon. He sees God face to face, and then he forgets about his enemy. I can't find nobody here. After his communication with God, he forgets about all his haters. He forgets about the Midianites. Let me pause and tell you that when you get in God's face this year, the people against you won't even matter. God said, listen, the peace I'm giving you is not that people are not going to come against you. Because you're blessed, they will come against you. The peace I'm giving you is not to tell you that people won't scandalize you. Because the more you promote it, they'll scandalize your name. But tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, the peace this year is that I have a relationship with God, one-on-one. I used to need you to pray for me, but now I pray myself. I used to need you to lay hands on me, but now I lay hands on myself. Tell your neighbor, tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, peace is in your house, peace in your family. No longer am I dependent upon people that have chaos. The issue is he forgets about his enemies once he talks to God. See this.
Yes, sir.
All the chapter, he's trying to figure out how will I win against the Midianites. But when he has a face-to-face with God, he's more afraid of his encounter with God than facing his enemies.
Yes, sir.
Which means your enemies don't matter as much as your relationship does.
That's right.
Which means that the peace, he says, is not to say that they won't come against you. The peace is they're coming.
Yes.
Who won't tell you that? Because these prophets are false. They're going to tell you, now, you know what, baby? You're going to walk into a season of peace. You're going to see roses on your feet. You're going to walk the green pastures.
Wow.
But the issue is, I cannot be challenged to change if what I think is normal stays normal. It's not normal to depend upon people that don't have a life.
That's good.
Glory.
Y'all seem sick.
Why would you do it? Why would you do it?
It's not normal to have more of a prayer life than people who profess to be godly.
Wow.
It's not normal to feed into ministries that aren't feeding into you with prayer and supplication. You can't want more from me than you're giving to God.
Yes.
What was that? You can only speak for me what you give to God. You can't come to me and put me in the place of God. I'm not God. I must remove myself from being your special God on earth. Because every time you get into a quandary, you call me and not God. I can't be in his way. If God's going to come to correct you, I'm not going to be the one to get the beating because I'm in front of you. If you come to get you, get up. It wasn't me. It's the year of saying it wasn't me. It's the year of saying, listen, I love my friend, but I don't want to get killed.
That's right.
I got too much to do. Get them. They're the one that lied. They get them. What me? I have purpose, and purpose says that I must stay alive because somebody around me needs me. My courage can become a condemning thing. I condemn myself by covering people who don't want to be covered themselves.
That's right.
You can't help nobody that don't want to help themselves. And then you go, I'm kind of bailing you out. I wish I hang out. If you want to be in jail, that's your safety. Because for some folks, jail is freedom.
That's right.
They love bondage. Bondage is their freedom because they know that in jail they can't get killed. Or they might get killed in there too.
That's right.
Jail shields them from the realities of life.
Wow.
As your bondage tries to cure you from knowing that things are going wrong in your life.
Come on.
It's called tolerance. You won't have peace, you have toleration. Tolerance means you have things that distract